Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to the little mini Mayfair. So, you left us in the last episode and we got the dash rail and the bulkhead sorted. Everything else is cleaned back, ready to rock and roll. And what I want to do in this episode is kind of get the front end so I'm happy enough with it to start lining panels up and making permanent fixtures. So, you see there we've got the front panel. All the panels James has got for the car are heritage. That was a little bit on my kind of behalf because they are a lot better to work with. He will have a lot better car at the end, and it saves a lot of time, which means we can really push through this restoration. Not to mention the steel's a lot thicker and things like that. So we are going to get all these heritage panels lined up. So Minimine ordered these panels in for me, absolutely top guys. So if you haven't heard of Minimine, they are a classic mini specialist based in Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. These guys are absolutely awesome. They sponsor the channel, and along the screen now is a 10% off code when you spend £15 or more with them on their eBay shop. So please go check out their eBay shop. There's a link in the description below for that. They're honestly an awesome company to work with, and yeah, we've got all these panels off them. On the back of this panel is some new subframe mounts, which James used the discount code on to get them to me. So yeah, they've got everything you ever need on the shelf for a classic mini. There's no other place you need to go. So go check them out, guys. While you're in the description, please take the time to look at Frost as well. They are a restoration company. They sell supplies, tools, everything you could possibly need in your workshop or your garage to keep your restoration going. What we're going to try and achieve in this episode, what I want to achieve in this episode is at the end of it to have the front end aligned. So nothing particularly welded, but while we have it this bare bones, it's the best protocol and point of call to try and actually get this right. So the scuttle is kind of sat roughly where it should be. So what we'll do is we'll get some clamps to hold this exactly where it should be. James's scuttle was bang on level with the dash rail. So it's quite easy to line this back up. We obviously will trial fit the windscreen, stuff like that, but I've never had any issues so far. Just go where it went. It's basically the best point of call. This follows lines really nicely here, and you can't really go too far wrong with a heritage one, I might add. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the front panel bolted on, and then we're going to pull the wings out. They're all on the shelf there with the A panels, get everything kind of clamped up, and hopefully we can start looking at getting some of these fixed to the car. But this is a very critical part because this car not only is having a full front end scuttle forward, but is also having a bonnet swap, and a bonnet swap can send off all the geometry completely. So what we want to do is we want to try and get the scuttle where it should be, bonnet on, front panel aligned, and then try and make the wings fit that. So let's get to it. Loads of time lapsing, guys, which I know you guys enjoy a lot more than me going on. So let's get to it. So as you can see, it's lined up perfectly here. Obviously, we'll probably chop the panel somewhere and marry it down with what's left of the car, because the minimal amount of weld you can do up this pillar, there's a wiring loom up there, the better. So try and bring it down as low as you can on this side anyway. Obviously, I've just slung the bonnet on. It's not even properly bolted in, but already I want to try and make this gap the one we keep. So obviously the whole bonnet needs its geometry all moving around. Again, on this side, it follows really nicely with the line around the windscreen. So James's scuttle was completely level with the dash rail, so I'm going to try and aim for that. This scuttle I think is pretty much sat where it wants to be. So we'll just keep working on it being there for now. If that's in the right place, we'll know because everything else will line up off it. So the bonnet, I mean already, look at that. Shiny new panels. Look at that, lovely. Right, so we've got the front panel there. That's going to go on next. So we've got a towing eye that's secured at one side and a nut and bolt on the other. So we'll get that fitted on and then we'll try the wings on. But yeah, already, how cool is it looking? So something about a heritage bonnet, I'm not going to lie, that is a really nice bit of kit, that. I've never had a heritage bonnet for any of my cars. I've either had good bonnets on them to start with, or I've just bought a second-hand one from somewhere, but this is really, really nice. It's nice to work with. So we'll keep pushing on, keep trying to work away with what the plan is with this. front panel next, I think. So we'll get the ratchet set out and we'll get that bolted on. Right, so that's the front panel all lined up. It can only really go in one place, the front panel. Lines up with the subframe bolt holes really. And then basically what you need to do is make sure your inner wings are kind of pushed up against these tabs, but these are so adjustable, so don't worry about that. But obviously it does move because there's absolutely nothing holding it on at the top, but it's bolted to the car, you know, you can lock the whole car with it. So first point of call, let's see how the bonnet fits on it. So obviously there's no latch or any pins or anything like that in it, but let's give it a look. I do apologise for the shutter rattling, it's very, very windy out there. But yeah, so that's kind of where it wants to kind of sit. So we need to work with it a little bit, obviously. We're a million miles away from everything, but let's go and grab the wings and let's see how they go on. Boom! Look how easy that was. Gotta love Heritage panels. So obviously they're not in their resting spot at all. But one thing to massively note, if you check back and look at the old videos of this car, the bonnet used to stick out a mile off. You can tell it's a pattern bonnet, look at that. Hopefully we can retain that because that is flush. But yeah, look at that. So all the way around there, I've literally just chucked that on with one clamp. This is why you go Heritage, guys. If you can afford to, it saves you a hell of a lot of time. Again, round here, kind of needs to kick back a little bit there, but you can kind of see where we're going. Covered in dust, these wings. Bonnet gaps. Again, it is just plonked in. Look at this. So it's got to come up and back a little bit and be fettled, obviously. This is purely just that in spot, so the gap this side's a little bit higher or a little bigger, but it's literally just plonked in. And look at that. It already just looks 10 times better, this little car, doesn't it? So, right, let's try the A panels. I think we might as well just do the whole shebang. I mean, ain't she a peach? How good does that look? I've literally just slung these panels in, guys, and you've just seen me do that. I've not done anything fancy for camera. There's a clamp on each side, and it's fitting as it does. Don't be wrong, we've got a bigger gap this side than we have that side. Bonnet could do coming back a fraction, but it's bang on with it, all of this. We're getting close, which is all good. So all I wanted to do really with this is to make sure the panels are roughly where they should be, so that we can get this scuttle in. Once the scuttle's in, we can build forward, can't we? So I'll bring you guys in and we'll have a proper look around before I unclamp it all. Right, so let's check it out, guys. Like I say, it's not finished this. Basically, the main reason of this video is I wanted to know that, because we've chopped out everything. So normally I have the bonnet to line up with, and then we build the wings and stuff off it, but the bonnet's obviously been replaced as well. So what I wanted to know is, number one, does the scuttle go far enough back? Which it does. It's completely pinched against the bulkhead there, which is absolutely fine. Have we got a good gap all the way along there? Yes, we do. Do the wings sit nice and tight to it? They do. Does it line up there? They do. So yeah, you get the gist. Heritage scuttle is in the right position. But the basic reasoning for doing all this is to make sure that everything is just forward and back and has enough movement, because obviously this is final fitment, is it at all? So yeah, there's a lot more work to do with this. It's nowhere near where it's going to live. Loads of work to do on the inner wings to bring them tight to the wings, drop the wings, move the wings up, down, side to side, but basically the old faithful's in the right place. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm just going to run through a few points to look at if you're doing this yourself. Again, I'm no professional at this at all, but I've done a few now, so I've learned along the way. Basically, to line up your wings, the first thing you need to do, so one tip, make sure you've got a consistent gap along the back of the bonnet, because that way you know the bonnet's clear in the scuttle, the bonnet is as far further forward or further back as you need it to be. So that's the first thing I do, and make sure it's the right height. So then you can build off that. So like you can probably see here, this wing's a little bit higher and that wing's a little bit higher. These wings will go down once they're welded because the flange needs to drop, but you need to remember to build off that. Next thing to look out for is obviously where your front panel is going to sit. So this is only bolted in 2 spots, and then it has them tabs on the inner wings that go in. They always rot away. Make sure the front panel is where you want the bonnet to meet. So here we've got a nice consistent gap all the way along there. It sits nice, but if you open this bonnet, it's not quite sat. It's sat high because obviously all that needs pushing down. So that isn't where it's going to live, is it, at all? We need to bring them inner wings to meet that. Also, one thing to note when you're doing the scuttle and your front end is try and make sure this is in line as much as possible and you have a consistent line there, because that way you know that this is sat down on the bulkhead correctly. And my last point is just take your time. You had absolutely no rush to do this. We all do this as a hobby, we enjoy doing it, and there's absolutely no point in rushing basically the whole appearance of the front of your car. This car is different to every other one I've done. They all are different. So this one, the inner wings are going to need work to make it join the front. So this front is exactly where it needs to be, but the inner wings aren't meeting it. We do know the car's had accident damage, so that wing needs to be pulled a little bit further forward. Easy enough to do with some tech screws and stuff like that, but we've learned a lot from just doing this, is what my point is. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a very, very short video, but it's something that I get asked a lot at. What would you do? Why would you buy these panels? This is basically why I buy heritage panels. Funds aren't always there for cars, but in this respect, it's James's car. He wanted it to be right, and I'm thankful for the fact that this is lining up a lot better than most front ends I've done. I wanted to bring you in, like I say, just for some top tips really. I'm just the same as you guys in the garage barn, doing the same thing. But yeah, they all fit differently. So I thought, while I've got one in complete bare bones, and I've never done one where it's required a bonnet as well, I thought let's learn together, and we'll bring you guys along for the ride. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been fun, very quick really. It's gone together quite nicely. So it's a nice video to make for you guys, and I'm hoping it's going to be quite helpful. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, comment away. What's your preferred choice of doing a front end? How would you do it? Would you take all this off, weld it, then put it back on? How do you like to do your front ends on your car? Next episode, we'll get the scuttle in. Obviously, we can't do the rest of this until the scuttle's on. So we'll do that in the next episode. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one.